Hey guys, so I know we're in Q4 and the holidays are rapidly approaching. And with the holidays comes a final opportunity for brands and businesses to maximize the results before end of year. What also comes with this is a time where people want to celebrate the holidays and maximize the time spent with their friends and family. So I think the big question that often comes up during this time period is how do we have a successful holiday season where we're hitting campaign goals, but then we're also preventing burnout and taking care of our team, right? I think both things are equally important, and the businesses that can find this balance will be the most successful, not just from a business perspective, but from a people perspective. And we all know that there is a synergy that comes between hitting your business goals and taking care of your teams. My approach to this is to do a lot of pre planning. And the two areas that I like to pre plan around are budget planning to meet our campaign goals and putting together a very tight coverage plan that allows me to develop a system that can autonomously manage my team's time effectively and my time effectively as a team lead. So let's break down these two tactics, starting with budget planning. Now, if you're an upper funnel awareness brand, this may be more straightforward to you as you really need to just follow your messaging calendar. What I want to do is I want to focus on some of those like revenue focused brands because this is where I can really lean in and give you a baseline system to start off with, and then you can customize this based on some of your client needs and your historical data. Now, my experience working with some top e-commerce brands is that the most important time period for the Q4 holiday to maximize your revenue is going to be Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and Cyber Week. The reasons why this is the most important time period is because this is where the high spenders are showing up to do all of their Christmas shopping. They're taking advantage of all of these sales during this time period. And as you get closer to Christmas, I would say that week after Cyber Week, that's when you want to start to taper your budget down from the peaks that you set during that Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and Cyber Week time period. Because there will still be opportunities to target people who are shopping for Christmas, but these are going to be people who either have lower disposable income or they will be people who did most of their shopping during that Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Cyber Week time period, and now they're just buying some one-off gifts. I do want to stress that this is a anecdotal foundation that comes from my experience. What I urge you to do is take this model and pair it up with your historical analysis of the prior year's performance to identify your peak opportunities. I think the day of Christmas is a good opportunity. People are getting gift cards, they're getting cash gifts, so a lot of people are looking to splurge and spend those gifts. You also will have maybe the weekend of Christmas as well. Just that entire time period can be a very slight peak. But once again, you want to use this as a way to drive incremental conversions or as a way to kind of close that gap. You don't want to depend on this as your peak season as the boat has already sailed at least a month ago. All right, so we talked about budget planning. Let's move into the next step, which is putting together a coverage plan. This is the people part, which allows you to effectively manage your team's time and their resources. What does an effective coverage plan look like? Well, for me, first step is creating a very simple Excel sheet with a list of all of my team members on the left in a column, and then creating a row with all of the dates that need to be covered. So if you're at like an agency, this is typically starting from the day before Thanksgiving through Thanksgiving Sunday, and then the day before Christmas up until I think roughly about January 3rd. These are usually the two time periods that need to be covered. What I'll have my team do is next to their name, I'll just have them check off the days that they feel comfortable covering. And I have a very simple rule. The rule is that no one person should do 2 consecutive days in a row. This just shows respect for someone's time. Now, if you have a super small team, then you may not have an option but to have someone consecutively checking. But if you have the opportunity and you have a larger team, then try not to schedule someone more than 2 consecutive days in a row. I also like to set a time range for the team member to conduct their check-in. Typically, I like to set a time range between 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. as I find that this allows the team member to wake up, have their breakfast, say hello to their family and friends, and crack open their laptop once they're in a good state of mind so that they can do a very effective and thorough check-in. And it allows them to sign off early enough to enjoy the rest of their day stress-free. Obviously, this is a time that you need to coordinate with your client and your internal team members. For some people, it may make sense to do an early check-in. For others, you may need to do a check-in, in the middle of the day based on whatever the needs are for your account. But in my experience, that has always been a very good starting point for me and my teams. And the final piece of a coverage plan is putting together a checklist of all the critical items that need to be checked. Now, this can be a bit more custom based on your account, but in my experience, there are some universal check boxes that should be kept top of mind for all activation teams. The first being checking to make sure any campaign launches have successfully gone live. Secondly, you want to make sure that you're checking your spend and performance pacing to goal. Third, you want to ensure that any optimizations that were made have been logged for the next person who's going to check in. And lastly, you want to ensure that any emails that have come in from the client or internally have been addressed. And as a bonus, as we reach the end of this video, I want to give you all some additional tips on how you can unload the burden on your teams during the holiday season. So the first tip that I want to give you guys is look to receive all of your campaign materials before your office closes. That way your teams can build their campaigns out and implement their ads before the office closes, because once people start going out for holidays, it just becomes a bit more difficult to coordinate across the team. So if you can just manage your campaign launches during office closures, then that would be most ideal for your clients as well as your teams. And the second and final tip that I want to give you guys is look into using automated roles to manage your campaigns. Not only can you use them to manage the start and the end dates, but there are some advanced ways that you can use them to manage your budget. So calling back to our budget planning conversation, you could use automated rules to pre-plan some of your heavy ups and your taper downs. So I think what's most important with automated rules though is try to do a trial period before you go out on the holidays, because automated rules can have some interesting verbiage that can be hard to understand. So you want to work out some of those kinks before you put it into play, especially if you're trying to use it to manage budget. That's pretty much everything I wanted to relay to you all. I hope that you found this video helpful. Thank you for tuning in. I would also love to hear if you all have any additional tips on how you manage your teams during the holidays, or if there's anything else people should be keeping top of mind during this critical time period. So feel free to leave a comment if you have any thoughts. Also give me a follow if you find this information useful. You can book me for a 30-minute consult if you want to have a deeper conversation. And I hope you all have a great holiday. All right. See ya.